Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 18 of Kickoffs and Tipoffs. I'm your host, Brett Berner. Joining me, my co-host,
Matt Foley, and college football is officially finished for the 25-26 season as Indiana, the team that we said by week 4 when they beat Illinois 55-10 or 65-10, I don't remember. It was a lot to a little, and we asked ourselves, is this Curt Cignetti's first big-time win? And we were questioning, well, especially me, questioning, is this team built to make another run, and can they beat the big dogs? They beat Oregon, they beat Ohio State, and they finish it off by going a perfect 16-0 or 15-0. I don't know what it is. 16-0 as they beat Miami 27-21 to be the first undefeated 12-team in the 12-team playoff era to do it all, and man, it was quite the game.
It was a great game, start to finish. I mean, Miami came out with an immense amount of intensity. They were knocking Fernando Mendoza on his butt for most of that entire first quarter. He got bloodied in the lip, took a lot of big hits that he hadn't since the Ohio State game, basically. I mean, it's been cruise control for Indiana throughout these playoffs, but they knew this was going to be by far the hardest test, seeing this Miami pass rush led by Messidor and Ruben Bain Jr., but overall, I mean, credit the Canes. They played a great game. It was once again Mark Fletcher doing a lot of the heavy lifting, getting that running game going, but this was a very methodical, defensive-minded game that Indiana was able to outwit Mario Cristobal and the Canes because of their defense and because of their special teams. That block punt they had with about 5 minutes left in the third quarter was a huge momentum shifter in this game. Miami was able to go down at the start of the fourth quarter and score the touchdown to cut it to 3, but back and forth a little bit at the end. Mendoza, obviously the highlight of the game, 9 minutes left, 12-yard QB draw, diving into the end zone for the touchdown. Just really encapsulates this whole Indiana team. The season they've had with Mendoza, winning the Heisman, showing the grit, and he showed it all on that play. It was reminiscent of Blake Horvath in Army-Navy this year, but what a play. Congratulations. The Indiana Hoosiers and Curt Cignetti complete the most unlikely national championship and probably one of the most surprising and earned national championships of all time with how quickly this program has been turned around in 2 years.
Yeah, it's just quite the turnaround. I mean, last year you go 11-2, you lose to the two teams in the national title game, and then you enter this season with even a restocked and reloaded portal class. You bring in Fernando Mendoza. You have basically the same receiving core in Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt, and you just feel like you have that core. You bring back the defensive line, and then you bring in transfer portal on the offensive line with Pat Coogan from Notre Dame, who led that team to the championship, and then you're stacked at the defensive back position with D'Angelo Pons and Lewis Moore, but this game ended in the most obvious way possible. It would, of course, end with a Carson Beck interception. It just felt right to end the game that way. But the stars for Miami, Mark Fletcher, 112 on the ground, 2 touchdowns. And then Malachi Toney, probably the second best receiver in college football right now behind Jeremiah Smith. Only a freshman, and it's going to be exciting to see how he turns out next year. And it's going to be interesting to see who the Miami quarterback is next year. But this was just all Indiana football. Mendoza doing just enough to get it done, and then they're just led by the two-headed monster in the backfield in Roman Hemby and Kalen Black. 36 carries, over 130 yards. They were just punching Miami in the throat with those inside zones. And then Mendoza, 4th and 5, just comes up big with a 12-yard run for the touchdown. And then it was just all Indiana. They did it all year. We talked about them being a very complete team, and they did it at every aspect of the game. They were great offensively, great defensively, and then they got even a special teams touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, credit to Indiana. Completing the 16-0 season, we looked at the ESPN does the thing where they rank every national champion after the next one has been crowned. And this Indiana Hoosiers team breaks the top 4 out of the 64 teams ever in the college football playoff. These Indiana Hoosiers came in at number 4. It's high. It's high for a team.
Interesting.
But again, this is a team, the first ever team, like you said, to go undefeated in the 12-team CFP playoff era. something that a lot of people said was probably never going to happen with how much of the non-conference schedule there is, with how tough conferences are getting deeper, and then obviously having to go all the way through a 4-3 game playoff to go undefeated. It's a very high task. Indiana did it. They accomplished it, building up the program. They did a lot through the transfer portal, but I think all the credit in the world goes to Coach Cignetti and the way he formed this roster, and obviously the Heisman candidate, Mr. LinkedIn, Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah, I mean, but like if we're talking about like out of conference, Indiana just despises playing out of conference now.
That's true, and
like,
this is almost kind of calling back to what Texas Steve Sarkisian kind of said at the end of the year. Why schedule the non-conference games if?
Yeah, I think it's incredibly stupid that has come to where we are having to have these teams. Like Indiana's schedule next year in non-conference is North Texas, Howard, and
Neil Breezy,
and Western Kentucky, and they don't leave the state of Indiana for any of those.
Don't count out the Mean Green.
Neil
Brown in his first game
wagon
as the North Texas head coach
could pull off the
team's
upset
gone.
Of the century.
He doesn't have a team.
Not at all.
Doesn't have Drew Mestemaker.
Doesn't have anybody on that team. I don't even know if anybody stayed.
But the Fighting Neils, I can tell you right now, North Texas, get ready to trust the climb.
It's Jaheim versus Indiana.
Hey, man. He might get it done.
He might get it done.
If he's healthy.
That's the age-old question.
Shout out Jaheim White. Shout out Coach Neil Brown.
Yeah, but
forever in West Virginia history.
Yeah, just to think, Neil Brown's related to everything. He's related to this national championship game, related to all the hirings and everything that's done to this West Virginia team.
There's always a West Virginia connection.
It all leads back to Neil Brown.
Kurt Cignetti.
Exactly.
WVU quarterback.
Just like all things lead back to this season, what could have been if the ACC tiebreaker had been a legitimate tiebreaker.
Was just normal. That still hasn't been changed.
No, still hasn't been changed. Don't know. They have, I think till the end of this week to make any changes, and it doesn't look like they're going to do it, and it doesn't look like ESPN's going to extend the deadline for any changes into next year for the playoffs or anything.
Which, let's talk about that for a second. It's a whole debacle, and at the end of the day, it comes down to the two biggest divas in college football.
Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey, the
Big Ten and the SEC.
The Big Ten wants 24 teams. The SEC wants 16 teams. The Big Ten said that they're fine with doing 16 teams as long as it eventually goes to 24. And he wants Greg Sankey to put it in writing. I mean, you I don't know why. I don't know why we're trying to go expand more when we haven't even perfected this one. There's just a lot to go over. There's just two people who just want more money, and that's what it's going to come down to at the end of the day. But it doesn't look like anything's going to change going into next year. I don't know if what that includes via committee-wise and what's going on with that, and then tiebreakers. I hope the ACC tiebreaker just changes altogether so we don't end up with this problem again. But it will be interesting to see how these tiebreakers commence, and then if we'll ever have another year where a 5-loss ACC champion occurs and we have two group of 5 teams in again.
Yeah, I think that this was an anomaly for sure, in the 12-team playoff bracket, but I do think that this system works. And I think that, yes, it has its flaws, but I do overall think it works. I think that if the ACC would have just had a normal tiebreaker, none of the issues would have happened.
No, we would have been perfect.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been on the playoff committee. It would have. It's on the ACC.
It is
at the end of the day.
All things lead back to the ACC.
But overall, this playoff bracket worked. Now, the thing that still, in my opinion, needs to be looked at is teams with the bye are 1-7 in their first game. Indiana being the only team to win that bye game and eventually go on to win the national championship. That is something that I think could play into effect. I mean, it's a long time between conference championships and if you have a bye, it's about 3 to 4 weeks of just dead time. And I don't think any team would want that. You saw Dan Lanning and the Oregon Ducks. They were thankful they didn't get the bye after what happened to them last season. And I think that's a fair argument.
I think this just has to do with the scheduling of college football right now. I know looking into next year, teams won't. Week 1 is the first weekend of September, and it's not till like the 5th or the 6th. It's the first Saturday, I believe, is the 5th.
Yeah.
Is the first week is week 1. They need to just move the season up altogether. Like week 0, like we don't need a week 0. Just start week 1 with everybody, because the national championship next year isn't going to end until like later than this one. I don't even think it's till like January 27th or 25th. It's one of the two. Rivalry weekend should be the weekend before conference championships. I mean, before Thanksgiving, and then conference championships should be on Thanksgiving that weekend. You're just moving the season up altogether, and then you can kick off right away in December, and then it's just every week. We don't need to have this big long like. The teams with the bye shouldn't have to end their season the first week in December and not play till the first week of January. Like, that shouldn't happen. Like, and it's going to be interesting to see if like one of these teams feels secured in the playoffs in their conference title game, and they're just like, we'll take the loss just to play earlier. I wonder when we're going to see that and when it's going to occur, because it's very interesting to see how this scheduling is now laid out, because we're getting progressively longer and longer, and it doesn't seem like anything's going to change anytime soon. But I mean, it would be honestly perfect if the season ended New Year's Day, because then recruiting's open, transfer portal opens then, and then we don't have coaches leaving in the middle of a playoff run. We don't have players leaving in the middle of the playoff run, which is another thing that just completely blows my mind, that we had Indiana and Miami players getting in the transfer portal the week of the championship game. Just doesn't make sense to me.
Before you play for a national championship.
Before you play for a national championship. It's just, there's a lot that needs to be fixed right now in college football, but they just want to expand for more money. So
that's all it comes down to. It'll come down to money. But I do think that, like you said, the biggest flaw right now is the amount of just dead time that there is especially with the playoffs. Yes, you can fill the gap with bowl games, but it's a long time for some of these teams to not be able to play football with their guys, and that has a serious effect, and it is shown with the teams that have gotten the playoffs having the 1-7 record. But we'll see if anything changes. I think it'll be a long and tedious process if something does come to happen, but just because the college football season is over, there is no amount.
There's no break.
Yeah, there's no short of teams and coverage to be had on college football. Obviously, it's going to step back a bit, and college basketball will be in the limelight, but still plenty to talk about with college football. And I think the biggest one, obviously, that everybody's going to look at is the transfer portal.
Yep. The biggest thing that college football has to offer after the championship game. A majority of the transfer portal is basically done right now, because they have completely erased the spring portal. So everybody is just now hopping in the portal. The portal has officially closed for everyone not on Indiana or Miami. They have until next Monday to get in the portal, but just because the portal is closed for people to enter. So we still have a ton of players that are still left to sign. I don't know when the exact closing date for those players are. I believe it's not till like February, but the start of the portal is officially closed for entering. But and a lot of people have signed. You got LSU, who leads the way right now. They have the number 1 portal class due to Sam Levitt and Principal Umanian. But it's just interesting to see. We have teams like Penn State and Oklahoma State, who both have – Oklahoma State has 54 commits, Penn State has 36. It's just interesting to see how they value quality over – or quantity over quality, because then you have teams like Notre Dame with 7 commits and Michigan with 17 commits, and they're all the way in the top 15. But then you have teams that have 30 to 40 to even 50 commits, and they're still ranked very highly.
Yeah, the Oklahoma State Cowboys have rolled in 54 commits.
Yep.
An insane amount, but again, this is a program that it basically had to. There was a mass amount of turnover, the firing of Mike Gundy, bringing in a new head coach. You've had to completely go over and gut this roster and start anew, and we'll see if it pays off. This is, again, feels very similar to what Colorado and then Kirk Cignetti did with Indiana. speaking of Indiana, they're rolling in another amazing portal class. But obviously, you still had National Signing Day and news that we didn't get to cover that specifically I want to cover. Michigan was in limelight.
Was quite in the limelight.
I don't know about limelight. The light.
The light. Yeah, they were in the spotlight for a little bit, but can't remember if we broke that news. We didn't. Yeah.
It's time to get this off my chest.
Well, I'll let you do this. This is your team. I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, this was like, man, it must have been what?
It was the
day.
Week? It was the day that we recorded.
Yeah, the day we recorded, and then that was our last recording before we went on break. Sharon Moore, we were recording Beyond the Mat when it happened.
We were.
Sharon Moore was fired by the University of Michigan. Won't get too much into it. Misconduct is what I'll call it with a staff member. So it was ugly. A lot of stuff came out about the program under Sharon Moore. Not very good. Michigan was obviously in a knee-deep coaching search in the beginning of December when one of the most loaded cycles that I can remember was basically over. So now you're scrambling. You don't know what's going to happen. Names are being thrown everywhere. You didn't know what was real, what was not. A lot of people thought that Kenny Dillingham and Kalen DeBoer, two top candidates. Dillingham signed an extension. DeBoer never came. Michigan ends up with former Utah coach Kyle Whittingham that had stepped away from the Utah program at the beginning after the end of their season, and for the circumstances, a home run hire for Michigan.
A home run hire. This was a slam dunk. This was everything. It was rumored to be Kalen going into that playoff game. If he lost, it was probably going to be Kalen. And then Kalen won, and then you didn't know, and then out of nowhere, Kyle Whittingham's name is rumored, and then the next day he's hired, and it's just a home run hire for Michigan. You were able to retain Bryce. You were able to retain a majority of your core, and then you bring in players from a Utah program who have always been in solid. That was a 10-win team this year. They were close to beating Texas Tech until the collapse in the fourth quarter. But you bring in J.J. Buchanan, probably the best tight end in the portal. Smith Snowden, one of the better DBs in the portal. John Henry Daly had double-digit sacks this year. Those are big-time gets for Utah. And Utah is not a slouch program. They are, and Kyle Whittingham is just a guy that every team wants. When Notre Dame was looking for a head coach before it was Marcus Freeman, if there was a guy who I wanted to bring in from outside of the program, it was Kyle Whittingham. I loved his offense. I thought his team was always excellent. This was during the Cam Rising era and all of that time when they were knocking on the door of the college football playoffs. But this is just a home run hire. Probably the best hire, in my opinion, of the coaching cycle this year. I'd say it's between him and James Franklin at Virginia Tech. Eric Morris was also a fantastic hire, in my opinion. But I think this was the best one altogether that you were just able, because we talked about it before, is who's the coach that's going to be able to retain the core of Michigan. You have to bring a coach in so you're able to keep Bryce and you're able to keep the young core of this team. And not only did you do that, and you're able to bring in veteran players who have experience, who are first-team Big 12 players, and now you bring them to the Big 10 with a great coach.
Yeah, I love it. I love Coach Whittingham. Me and my dad went up to Michigan. He was at the hockey game, was his first hockey game at home. Got to see him drop the puck, so saw him there. Seems great. Seems like perfect. Seems like a guy that's going to come in and just reestablish the culture at Michigan, which I think is one of the, in my opinion, the biggest priority of this hire was we got to get a guy in here that is going to erase basically the last 3 to 4 years of Michigan football with all of the stuff that's been going around. To my big surprise, Michigan retained A.D. Ward Manuel. I don't know how he still has a job, but good for you, Ward. I guess you're surviving.
Yeah,
but I mean, Notre Dame, their head coach is in a little bit of news too.
Allegedly.
Had to throw it in there.
Allegedly. I mean, there's not much to talk about. Nothing really happened. It was
battery? At a wrestling event?
Nope. And the video came out literally 2 days later, and there was nothing to be shown on the thing. It was just this 5'5" former criminal at a high school wrestling match knew who Marcus Freeman was, and knew that Marcus Freeman was the head coach at Notre Dame and was looking for a bag, and they were looking to, stir some drama.
But in all seriousness, obviously you had to throw it in there, but I think the main thing with Notre Dame was Marcus Freeman looking at all of the NFL jobs that were opening up. That was the real big storyline for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Marcus Freeman, you were in the job search last year for the Bears, you were in for the Steelers maybe. Then the Giants job opens up. Your name is rumored. Notre Dame has ties to the Giants. A lot of people in the front office are from Notre Dame. And then the Titans, the Falcons, every team is going to be looking at one of the best coaches in college football, one of the younger ones, who will eventually be in the NFL sooner rather than later. I'm hoping it's going to be in the later part, and he's just a Notre Dame guy for the longest time. But, a guy like him is going to end up in the NFL at some point. Just a young mind, been knocking on the door of the championship. And he said it best that you're doing something right if you're always in the NFL talks. And he's doing stuff right at Notre Dame. A little bit of a slow cycle to start out. Didn't really get guys, but then they just started landing guys left and right for 2 days, and it was just awesome. You bring in Quincy Porter and Mylan Graham, former 5-stars from receivers from Ohio State. So if you're going to go after receivers, you might as well go after ones who committed to Ohio State. But it was just a good portal. They chose a lot of younger classmen. This is something Notre Dame doesn't do. Notre Dame doesn't really go after people with multi-years of eligibility due to academic standards and academic limits. They've normally gone after just the grad transfer guys, but they brought in all underclassmen for this cycle. And it was just excellent to see that Notre Dame is starting to compete with these bigger schools due to the academic restrictions.
Yeah, and I think obviously it was huge for Notre Dame. They were the number 4 overall ranked recruiting class, according to 24/7, and then overall they checked in at number 3 because they also bolstered a top 10 transfer class. So credit to Notre Dame. They're up there. The top 10 overall college football team rankings combining the transfer portal and the recruits from National Signing Day. LSU at 1, Texas at 2, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Alabama, USC climbs all the way to number 6 with 24 4 stars. Notre Dame at 7, Texas A&M at 8, Tennessee at 9, and Georgia at 10, with Michigan and Miami checking in at 11 and 12. But overall, a big success for a lot of these top-tier programs. But big things, I think Georgia being all the way down at 10, Notre Dame and Texas continuing, and obviously LSU with Lane Kiffin has so far hit it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that is due to LSU brings in, I believe, the number 1 recruit in the class or the number 2 recruit in the class in Lamar Brown. But then you also grab guys like Sam Levitt, who are 5-stars in the portal. The 5-star rankings and stuff like this is very difficult to look at because you're also looking at what these guys were formerly. And then you still have guys like Jordan Seaton who could end up at your school. He's a 5-star. They bring in 2 quarterbacks, actually. They brought in Houston Longstreet from USC, who is a former 5-star. But, Eugene Wilson III from Florida was a huge guy for them to get. But you knew that when you bring in Lane Kiffin, the recruits come. They just want to be with, I guess, the hip guy. He's Lane Kiffin. Let's see how long this coaching spree lasts at LSU. But, another interesting thing that ESPN does is they're way too early top 25.
Yeah.
And this is probably the next thing that we're going to end up talking about. And I just find it's very, very interesting, but I think it's
on this, isn't it?
No, it's the next one. Wouldn't blow it.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, checking in at 1 for next year. They're way too early. This is probably going to change. Indiana, and you can't really disagree because until somebody beats them, it's sort of like Ohio State. Like, you just left them at 1 until somebody beat them, and Indiana's going to do the same until somebody beats them.
They reloaded.
They're going to remain at 1. Then you go down to Texas. Arch Manning. You saw him come alive. You're going to need to see that. You got to do that earlier this year. You can't have it. And I think that's what Sark knows. I think Sark could be somebody who's on the hot seat after this year if they don't go far enough. Because I think if you can't capitalize with Arch and then you bring in Cam Coleman as well, I think people are going to start having some questions about if you can get it done or if you're not.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody has any. Notre Dame checks in at 3, which feels
the Irish are up right now.
Irish are up. I mean,
projected
Heisman, projected on their ESPN thing that they were going to win the national championship. Don't know if I like that or not.
Tie for the best odds to win the national championship.
Yeah, I just like flying under the radar.
The Irish are in the spotlight right now.
But I guess with Marcus Freeman, you can't really do that now. Then Georgia, yeah, they're going to have an SEC team.
Yeah.
There. I don't even know how. I mean, they bring back Stetson Bennett. But, I mean...
They did good. They have, again, good, decent portal class, really good recruiting class, top 10 composite, so that's what...
I mean, it's just interesting.
It's Georgia.
Then the Ducks check in. I mean, you bring back Dante Moore. The question of will he go to the draft or will he not, we have our own opinions on that. But they also bring in Dylan Raiola, who's nursing a broken leg still, so this is probably good for him. But if you're Oregon, you lose a lot of like top guys that were like in your guys. You lose Bryce Bochner, one of your top linebackers, Dylan Thielman, Kenyon Sadiq. But you bring in Coy Parrish as well. It'll be interesting to see how Dan Lanning uses him, if he's going to still do the offense and defense.
I would. Coy Parrish, in my opinion, was maybe the best player available in the transfer portal. Safety, wide receiver, hybrid, primary safety. I mean, he made all Big Ten as a freshman at Minnesota. He was
rowing the boats.
He's an insane ball hawk with just skills all around. He's a stud.
He is a stud. And then it goes down to Ohio State, who makes sense. They lose a lot of top guys, but, I mean, you still have Sayin and you still have Jeremiah Smith. So it's going to be hard not to put them this high, but they got a really tough schedule coming up. But that defense is going to take a hit. They're losing just about everybody on that defense.
Yeah.
So you could see some struggles there. Texas Tech, yeah, I mean.
Oil money. Another thing that we need to talk about. Brendan Sorsby gets $5 million, maybe more probably. Doesn't make sense to me at all. Didn't see it in him when he. Really?
I didn't think he was that great of a quarterback. I don't know how he garnered $7 million, like that type of money.
I don't think any player in college football is worth $7 million, but I do think Sorsby, in my opinion, he was the best quarterback in the portal.
I thought Mistemaker was the best, but that's just me. But, I mean, that's neither here nor there. I mean, Texas Tech, you know what the oil money they're going to be able to pay. Get a lot of people. I'm trying to think who else they got that makes... Oh, they got the D lineman from Wake Forest who was pretty good. But you lose...
Simmons.
Yeah.
Our boy.
Malcolm Simmons, yeah.
That Auburn receiver room that is just loaded. It's now gone. Cam Coleman,
gone. He's at Texas.
Malcolm Simmons, gone.
Perry Thompson's also gone.
Dang.
Trying to think who else they lost. Oh, Deuce Knight's at Ole Miss now.
Yeah.
But then Miami checks in next. Oh, look at Cam Vaughn.
Did he? Oh, he's on there.
Yeah, he's on it. But I think I think Miami's this high because their anticipation that Mensa will transfer, which is another thing that's going on right now. Darian Mensah entered the transfer portal, and then 2 days later is now getting sued. Well,
he entered the transfer portal the day that the portal closed.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. We now have 2 quarterbacks who are one. I don't even know if the DeMond Williams thing is still ongoing.
I think it got resolved.
I think he's now back. He didn't want to deal with
all the stuff,
the lawsuit stuff.
It's just insane how, like, if something doesn't go your way, their first action is to sue. It's the same thing going on with Trinidad Chambliss.
Yeah,
he got denied this 6-year eligibility, and now it's just like, well, we're going to sue the NCAA.
Yeah, it's a whole problem. I don't know what I think the Mensa thing. I don't know what's going to happen with it because he did sign the contract for multiple years, but I don't know. I think this is where I'd lean out of college football with this, when all this like lawsuit stuff comes up and it becomes more political.
But this should be what happens. If these NIL deals are going to be a part of the sport and you sign your way into a multi-year NIL contract, unless you specifically buy your way out of it,
Yep.
you are locked into the school.
It's like when
It's like the pros.
It's like the pros. If you sign
wanna
a contract.
if you want to be like the pros and you want to get paid this amount of money, you got to play by the rules. You can't just.
Yep.
It's like if you signed with J.P. Morgan a multi-year contract, and then T-Mobile comes a calling, they're willing to give you a bag. You can't just leave J.P. Morgan.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not how the real world works.
And it's like the transfer portal. We're seeing more guys, like going back to it. We're seeing more guys just jump in every year, and some guys are going on like their fourth school. And it's like, at some point, something has to change with when you're allowed to transfer.
You're not getting education.
Like you're just going for that bag every time.
It's ridiculous.
I think the portal. I think you should be allowed one free portal jump, and then the next one you have to sit a year, and then you're allowed one more if your coach leaves or what was it, medical something or something along the medical red shirt or something along those lines.
The red shirt, another huge change.
Yeah, the red shirt got changed to where 9 games is now the thing, which I don't know. I don't know how or why that got changed. It didn't seem like it was a problem to me, but
I don't get it all. How can you you can basically deny a whole year, you can save a whole year of eligibility and play in 9 games. Like that's insane.
You can sit out the entire your non-conference schedule and then just play all of conference play and then be like, you know what? Year. I'm going to redshirt. Just doesn't make sense to me at all. The rest of this, we'll list it. Well, I don't even know if we need it. We'll just go to the top 10.
Yeah.
Ole Miss checks in at 9. It's the peak golden era now. A lot of people going to LSU and a lot of people coming to Ole Miss. So they got a lot of Auburn guys and a lot of Florida people, which is interesting. A&M reloads, they're also going to have a lot of oil money, but I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for the years to come. Mike Elko gets his team to the playoffs for the first time. Struggled at the end, but, you ended up playing Texas on the road, which was a tough matchup, and then you play Miami, who was in the national championship. So you can't feel too bad about that. And then the rest is a bunch of stuff. Where was Michigan?
Michigan was 18. Yeah.
You know what? That makes sense.
That's
perfect.
Better than I thought. Wow, Alabama all the way down at 21.
You lose a lot there. They lost a lot. Penn State
jumps at 22. Michigan, Dillingham.
Did you see Arizona State's schedule coming up?
No.
It is awful.
Really?
It is horrendous.
They got their guy. Dillingham can do it.
They got screwed.
Michigan's is bad too.
Yeah. Ohio State's is all.
Utah is ranked. Wow. Shout out the Utes.
They're interesting because they brought in a ton of people and they lost a lot of people, but they also kept a majority of their guys. I also don't know. Is Dampier going to the? Did Dampier leave or no?
I haven't heard anything about him. I'm assuming he's staying.
Yeah, but they also have a red shirt. They also have a freshman quarterback who they used as well.
Yeah, against Colorado,
Bird
good.
Ficklin, who's really good. But
returning to Utah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have him and you're gonna keep him, he's got a chance at the Heisman. He's got a chance at all Big 12. But I mean, going back to Arizona State, I'll pull it up for you. It's really bad how so they have to go to A&M second week of the year, and then their Big 12 one is just not fun. At Texas Tech, then Kansas State, then at BYU, then Colorado, UCF, Oklahoma State, and then at Arizona. So they're on the road for BYU, Texas Tech, and Texas A&M. And then they're at Arizona, who they lost to this year.
Jeez.
Not a fun schedule if you're the Sun Devils. But the Sun Devils did bring in a bunch of people. They brought in a bunch of receivers. They brought in Amari Miller. They brought in Reed Harris. I mean, Kenny Dillingham's probably the best actual recruiter in the Big 12. I don't really count A&M. I mean, not A&M, Tech, because they can just throw you $1 million in oil money and then you're committed.
They buy your way. I love Kenny Dillingham. Yeah. This was who I wanted Michigan to hire. During the process, I was like, this is the guy. Like, obviously, I think DeBoer was up there too, but Kenny Dillingham was. It seemed like the right fit. I love Coach Whittingham now, but man, Kenny Dillingham is a hell of a coach, and he's going to do big things at Arizona State.
Yeah, he's going to do great.
Matt Campbell at Penn State.
I'm surprised Virginia Tech didn't get in there. I was thinking that they would just put Franklin in there just to have Franklin in there. Who is Tennessee going to start at quarterback?
I couldn't tell you. Do they have?
They'll lose 4 games again, and they'll somehow still be ranked.
Who is the highest ranked? It's Miami.
Who?
The ACC? Wow. SMU at 17.
Yeah.
Iowa at 16. What the?
Are they retaining Gronowski or whatever his name was? I don't think they might be.
No, he's
they're
gone.
Not. He's gone. They also lost a lot. How are they? Oh, LJ. Oh,
yeah,
he was
Phillips.
He was committed to what's his face? He was committed to West Virginia.
Yeah.
And then he dipped. I think
That's
it was
crazy. It's 16.
Yeah.
At Louisville at 14. There's
Jeff
I'm
Brown.
assuming that's your next. So yeah, Miami at 8.
Yeah.
Louisville, SMU, and then
They retained Isaac Brown, which was huge.
That's the 3 ACC.
Yeah.
So then,
really, SMU's above. I guess you bring back Kevin Jennings, but they lost.
Jennings gets a lot of hype, man.
I think he's very careless with the football.
Yeah, a lot of hype.
But I guess if you're gonna, they also have that like the Dallas money, but they lost a ton too. Chris Johnson, their running back, went to Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess with your Clemson, you don't know who your quarterback's going to be because Klubnik's gone.
Yeah, Clemson not ranked in this original top 25.
They could be a team. They're interesting to where their team could be good again because I think they have sort of a soft schedule coming up in ACC play, and I don't really know if they play anybody out of conference this time because unless they might play LSU again.
Oh, and I thought they already did the.
Did they do?
Was that a 1-1?
I don't know because it was one of the. It wasn't a home and home. It was a neutral site.
Yeah.
Because it was in Vegas or it was in New Orleans. But I'll look at their schedule now. But
AI
it
is saying LSU.
It is LSU. It's at Tiger Stadium.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but then they got. Oh no, their schedule isn't bad. Florida State, we could see if they're good again. Virginia Tech, Duke, North Carolina, Miami, Georgia Tech. Oh, never mind. This is a pretty good.
Yeah. Georgia Tech is another team I thought could squeak their way into the top 25 with how much they've added out of the transfer portal.
Yeah, I think it's just they lost their offensive coordinator to Florida. Haynes King's gone. They lost the backup, Philo.
Mm-hmm.
But, Brent Key's always going to have a great team there. He knows how to win. He's like Jeff Brom. They know how to
They got that quarterback, though, didn't they? Who was the quarterback they got?
Georgia Tech?
Yeah, because they got Justice Haynes.
I know, but I can't.
I thought they got a quarterback.
Let me look. Let's see where they are.
But once again, all this shows is the transfer portal creates.
Cal is one in the transfer portal for the ACC.
That's crazy.
They could be another team that because they kept. They got Alberto Mendoza.
Yes, that's who it was.
They got Alberto, but they had to have somebody before.
I don't think so.
Not
That's
really.
the only one I saw because he's got 3 years of eligibility.
Yeah, I guess Signetti told him after the game, you're not going to be the starter. So.
Well, I think he knew he was going to be the starter when Josh Hoover rolled into town.
Yeah, just more chaos in college football. But let's get to basketball. It's basketball season now.
It's basketball time. It'll be definitely football is going to take a back seat, but there'll still be coverage if anything big happens. Sure to let you know, but the NCAA basketball regions are definitely starting to heat up. There's a lot of just overall, in my opinion, I think there's unrest beginning to kind of go around for a lot of these teams because some teams that it's getting to the point we're getting around that 20-game mark.
Yeah, we are. We're at the 20-game mark, I think.
It's the end of January. It's now you have February and you've got about 1 or 2 games in March, and then it's time to stake your claim for the tournament in your conference tournaments. But some of these teams are rising, some are falling. We talked about Florida a lot, how they have been on a roller coaster year, but the Florida Gators are really finding their stride right now at 13-5 and ranked 16th in the AP poll. But the team that's right above them that is not finding their stride is Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I think you sort of saw this when they started out undefeated. Not really a lot of good wins coming out of Vanderbilt, and now they play Florida, and then they got a good win versus Alabama, but Alabama's also sort of fumbled, and then they lost to somebody else. I can't remember who they lost to. They lost to Florida.
Vanderbilt?
Yeah.
They lost to Texas.
Oh, they did lose to Texas. They got beat pretty bad.
And then Arkansas.
Yeah.
They've lost 3 in a row now after starting, 15-0?
Yeah, something along those
16-0.
lines. 16-0.
Now they're lost their last 3.
Yeah, I mean.
By not pretty games either. I mean, they lost to Texas 80-64 at Texas.
Yeah, it wasn't close.
Florida beat them by 4 at home, and then they went to Arkansas and just got mollywopped.
Yeah, Arkansas started to find their stride, and then they've lost 2 of their last 4 to Auburn, where it wasn't close, and Georgia, where it wasn't close. But then they just rebounded versus Vandy. They got a little bit of a easy stretch of the SEC where they don't really have a tough game again until maybe Auburn and Alabama, because they go LSU, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Mississippi State, LSU, and Kentucky is just falling off a cliff.
Yeah, Kentucky is not where they need to be. Purdue is another team. They recently just had to go all the way out on their West Coast trip to USC, UCLA. They barely scraped by the Trojans, and then Mick Cronin and UCLA pull off the upset 69-67. And then what does Mick Cronin do after his team beat the top 4 team? He goes on there and rants about the Big Ten because, God, I hate Mick Cronin.
Glad I didn't.
Terrible coach. I don't know how players want to play for him.
You know, I mean, another thing to talk about, Nebraska still undefeated. They have Minnesota on Friday, and then Michigan over on Monday.
Yeah, there it is, Nebraska. January 27th.
You get your prove it game.
You go into Chrysler to take on Michigan. This is it. If you want to be considered a legit threat, you obviously are. You have proven yourself that this is a very good Nebraska team. But if you want to make that jump into top 5, top 4, top 3 talks, go into Chrysler and beat Michigan, who is a lot of people's consensus 1 or 2 team in the country.
Yeah, and then you got Illinois after that. And those are going to be 2 games where it's put up or shut up if you're at Nebraska. But then, I mean...
really, after that, after the Illinois game, you have to go to Rutgers, you have Purdue, and then it's... You look good.
You look good. I mean, you're really starting to see the separation in the rankings. It looks like you got everybody up to Gonzaga is 1 loss or no losses. And then it's a mix of 2 losses and then a mix of teams that are... People still think they're good, but they've gotten a few losses. Yeah. It's like Kansas has climbed back up the ranks after a tough loss at West Virginia. They beat Iowa State, who is starting to really tumble as they've lost 2 straight. I mean, or they just beat UCF, but they had lost to Kansas by a lot and then Cincinnati by almost 10. But we're really starting to see a separation in the top teams. You got Arizona at 1. They're going to remain 1 until they lose probably.
Yeah, they're the unanimous 1. All 61 votes going to Arizona.
And I think it makes sense until they lose. They've played the best. They had a great non-con schedule where they took care of business. They beat the number 2 team in the country, handing them their only loss. And then you got teams like Duke, Houston, Gonzaga, Michigan, Purdue. Well, Purdue's going to drop.
Yeah, I don't think enough people are talking about Duke and Houston right now. Because obviously you know how good they are, but they're not getting that amount of hype.
Yeah,
in my opinion. I think everybody's talking about Arizona. Even UConn, I don't think is getting talked about as much as they should be.
I mean, UConn's only has 1 loss, and it's to the number 1.
To Arizona, on the road.
On the road.
True road loss.
True road loss. And then you have like you beat Seton Hall, who was ranked.
That was a huge win at Seton
Hall.
And
then you got Villanova this weekend. That's always a tough game. And then you got St. John's in a few days.
Yeah,
but
St. John's a team that has not.
They've not
had the year, but 14-5. They're 7-1 in conference play. So yeah, St. John's UConn rivalry has been officially reborn. So that it will be a big one.
I mean, North Carolina's starting to drop. They haven't been playing good basketball at all. They lost to Stanford. They lost to Cal. Just not good on the West Coast if you are North Carolina. And Hubert Davis is probably going to start to catch some hot seats because I don't know if they're going to be able to.
Yeah, some of those ACC schools, North Carolina, Louisville, but at the same time, they're kind of getting Clemson is climbing as well as who is the other one?
Virginia.
Yeah. Under their new head coach, they are really starting to catch fire. 16-2 on the year, wins against Stanford, wins against Louisville. On the road at SMU, they've got a big one with North Carolina coming up.
Yeah, I mean, huge win over Louisville. You got a win over Texas in the out of conference. But it's just Virginia basketball. The slow pace, they're going to make you, but then they can also explode for a ton of points.
St. Louis.
St. Louis.
The Billikens.
The Billikens.
Shout them out.
The G5. Oh, they're not. It's not even. What do we call them? The G5, I guess.
I guess. Yeah.
Or whatever. It's
everybody else.
Everybody else. Miami, Ohio's undefeated. They've had some scaries lately, though. But
they're winning.
They're winning. They are winning.
And they got ranked finally. 25th.
25th. Gotta love it. I mean, the coaches poll in basketball is kind of stupid anyways, so
yeah,
we won't even really
105, 102, and 107, 101.
Yeah, they're playing some overtime games lately, but I mean, you just look at it. If you are Miami of Ohio, you're just happy to be ranked.
Yeah, first in the MAC, undefeated. What more can you want?
What more do you want? But we should probably start to pick some games.
Probably. That's probably what we should do. We have any
Friday
tonight?
No games tonight. Friday, you guys play
that team. No, this one
not gonna be close.
It's always gonna be close. Obviously, 8 p.m. on Fox. Gus Johnson in Chrysler, Michigan, Ohio State. Know what's on the line. Ohio State trying to get those. I believe they play for gold pants. Maybe not. Maybe it's shirts in this one. Football team plays for one. Basketball team plays for the other. Michigan, see what the line comes out to, but Michigan's been on the ropes recently, not playing their best basketball. I really hope they find it here because this is their last game for Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean,
it's Ohio State.
I don't think this is going to be a real close one.
We're picking Michigan.
Yeah. Saturday, West Virginia travels to the desert to play Arizona, the number one team in the country.
Already been out there and picked up a huge road win last night.
Huge road win. Was close for a little bit, but then they exploded to get a double-digit win.
Trayson Eaglestaff.
Eaglestaff's coming alive. He's coming around nicely.
Yeah,
but,
keep an eye on it.
Not expecting a lot out of the Mountaineers in this game. Not expecting a lot. You can drop this game. You picked up the Arizona State win.
Yeah.
It's really all you needed. Just make it competitive.
Make it competitive.
That's
all we want.
That's all we want.
North Carolina, Virginia.
We can pick that one. I'm going to go with Virginia. I think North Carolina's starting to really struggle.
Okay, I'm definitely going to go North Carolina. On the road, they're slipping a little, but this is the time North Carolina's going to wake back up.
Yeah.
Because Caleb Wilson is too good. And he has a good supporting cast around him. I'm not buying what Virginia's selling.
Not buying it.
I think this team is decent. I think they're getting a couple lucky threes.
I think it's a usual Virginia team. I just think North Carolina's starting to fall. Next game, probably Illinois-Purdue. Illinois travels to Mackey Arena.
You can pick your boys.
I'm picking the Vulcan block. Always picking the Vulcan block. I haven't watched much Illinois basketball lately, though. But it's 7-1 versus 7-1 in conference. So this is definitely has some Big Ten implications on seeding, probably. But I don't know. What are you going with?
I'm going to go with Purdue, but the thing to keep an eye on right now for the Boilermakers is Mackey Arena has obviously been favorable, but the offense for Purdue is starting to waver a little bit. Braden Smith and TKR haven't been playing their best basketball. I think Smith needs to kind of reestablish that dominant point guard feel because he's one of the most elite passers in the entire Big Ten. But when Purdue's at its best is when Braden Smith can take over a game as that true scoring guard. And I think that's what Purdue needs to kind of start doing because TKR will be effective in this game, but Illinois has a mass amount of height. Yeah. They average 42 rebounds and 5 blocks a game. It's going to be hard for Purdue to try to establish that post presence against Illinois, so I think it's going to be a guard-heavy game, and I think it's going to fall on the shoulders of Braden Smith.
Yeah, and then next we got a Big 12 classic, Houston versus Texas Tech. Houston travels to Lubbock in a game where this could be huge if you are Texas Tech. You get to pick up a huge in-conference win that puts you both at 5-1. Well, Texas Tech will be at 6-1, but this is the meat of the Big 12. This is games where this is going to be a great defensive game, but you're going to see some high-scoring offense from Texas Tech versus the loaded defense that is Houston. And I think I got to go with Texas Tech. They have the best player in the conference in JT Toppin. I think he is the best player. I think they have the best duo.
Okay.
I think Toppin and Anderson are very, very good.
Toppin's been very good this year.
21 points, averaging 56% from the field, 10 rebounds. Probably I'd say the leader maybe for the Naismith Player of the Year. I don't know who else comes to me right now. Boozer's been good, but I think Toppin is just going to impose his will.
I'm taking Houston.
Yeah, I mean, there's no really bad guess for that game.
It's on the road, yes, where the Cougars are, again, still very solid on the road, but definitely not as good when they're able to be at home. But this Houston team, it's just all around. You have the depth like Emmanuel Sharp, but then Kingston Flemings has been incredible this season for this squad. Houston wants to make it a dogfight. That's what they always want to do. Texas Tech will go and outrun, but the Red Raiders are able, if this becomes a defensive game, to kind of hang in there with Houston. It's going to be gritty. It's Big 12. If this one gets, I'd say watch this one be 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
Not one of these high-scoring games, but I do think Houston will come out with the win because Houston's another team. I do not think enough people are talking about it. We watched them against West Virginia. Mountaineers' offense definitely struggled, but so did the Cougars' offense at the beginning of that game.
Yeah, it's the best. It's two of the best teams in the Big 12. I mean, obviously Arizona's one, and then you got BYU as well. Just the Big 12 starting to really get as many teams as possible into the top 20 right now. Kansas is up there. Is there any more games that day that you want to pick?
No, not for this. I mean, do you remember Kansas State a couple years ago?
It was the overtime one, right?
Yeah, I mean, just Little Apple decked out. They're wearing the light purple uniforms. Kansas comes into town. Kansas has the little point guard, Vaughn. Is that his last name? Maybe that was the running back. And then they had the other big power forward. And they ran the alley-oop, arguing with the coach.
Oh, yeah.
Man, when Kansas State is good at basketball, it's a good time. That was a fun year for Kansas State.
That was a fun year for Kansas State. But let's go to Monday, where we have two top 25 matchups and probably the meat of the ACC and the meat of the Big 12. Louisville takes on Duke in a rematch, this time in Cameron Indoor. I think it's going to be Duke again. I think Duke already got them on the road, and Cameron Indoor, probably one of the hardest places to play in college basketball, and Duke's just playing their best basketball right now.
Yeah, it is very hard, especially if Duke gets you on the road before you head into Durham.
Yeah.
That's a tough spot to be. I think Louisville's not playing their best basketball right now. I think that, guys like Isaac McNeely, Ryan Conwell, who's been incredible, I think the confidence is just overall down right now for the Cards. Now to go to Duke, it's a very hard task against this Blue Devils team. They're just beating up on teams, playing their basketball. Nobody's talking about them, and I think they're perfectly fine with it. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to take Duke.
Yeah, that first game was close for a little bit. Louisville had the lead for a few minutes, but then Duke just exploded in the second half, and it sort of became a blowout. But now Arizona travels to Provo, Utah, for their first big test of Big 12 play, and they take on the A.J. DeBonsa-led Cougars, who have been sort of they're playing good. They took a tough loss to Texas Tech, but this team is getting the best out of its best three players in A.J. DeBonsa, Rob Wright, and Richie Saunders. Both are averaging close to above 15 points a game. DeBansa's averaging close to 23 a game. It's freshman versus freshman, Koa Pete versus A.J., and then it's going to be quite the game. But I got to roll with the Cougars. Taking the Cougars to upset.
Taking BYU?
Upset, hand Arizona their first loss.
I agree. BYU has not lost at the Marriott Center all season. Arizona on the road. This is when they've been battle-tested the most, when they've had to go away from their home stadium, just like any team. But it's just time. I think everyone is due for a loss. And how good the Big 12 is this year, Arizona is going to lose a game eventually.
Anybody can beat anybody at some point in the year. Unless you're Utah.
Yeah, BYU, I think this is kind of their game to stake their claim back into the running, reopen the Big 12 race, which is still kind of, if Arizona takes that first loss in Big 12 play,
it's anybody's game.
Anybody is still fighting for a chance. So I'm going to be with you. I'm going to take BYU. Just for the fun.
Just for the fun. We only really got one game this day. Nebraska travels to the Chrysler Center for their second where they get to take on the other Michigan team.
Can't believe I'm nervous to play Nebraska.
19-0 Nebraska takes on 17-1 Michigan. 7 versus 3. Nebraska, prove it or lose it. Here we go. I'm going to take Nebraska to stay undefeated.
What the heck?
Taking them to stay undefeated. We're seeing if they're legit. If they lose, they lose. Oh, well.
Yeah, can I tell you something?
What?
This team is not legit. They've won.
Until they lose.
They've won one good game, and it was
no, they've won 2.
at home versus Michigan State.
They beat Illinois.
Oh, okay. Illinois, sure. I'm 10 times more petrified to play Illinois than I am this Nebraska team.
Well, yeah.
I've done extensive research on Nebraska. I've watched a lot of their games. I just don't see it. Sanford's been great. Hoiberg's been great, but Michigan is so deep. I think that this team is not big enough at all to contend with Michigan's height. Not many teams are. Adai Mara, Merez Johnson Jr. If Rez can stay out of foul trouble, I think this one gets ugly. I still think Michigan, their only loss has been at home, but there's a 20-point differential for Michigan at home and only 3 points on the road.
Yeah.
If this was in Lincoln, it's a different conversation. I think Michigan wins by 10-plus points.
I can see it.
I don't think this one's close, in my opinion. But
not really good games Wednesday, and then Thursday, nothing.
yeah, we picked Thursday. Purdue, Indiana.
Could
the Hoosiers
No.
back on track? Big rivalry.
No. Indiana sucks.
They didn't look very good.
They didn't.
Kentucky, Vanderbilt. Could Mark Pope figure it out?
Mark Pope's gonna
on the road against Vandy.
He's only got a few more. Got a couple more games to get it done. You got
Missouri, Alabama. Jaden Stone in the Tigers rolling into Tuscaloosa. Shout out Jaden Stone.
Missouri.
What a story that is.
Yeah.
Stone playing great basketball for the Tigers.
Yeah. If only.
Had to miss all last season.
Yep. Miami of Ohio's played UMass, and it's on the ranked thing.
Big game.
Yeah. Wednesday, not a lot.
No, definitely not a lot. Colorado State, Washington, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, that'll do it.
That'll do it, guys. What a week.
What a week of
College football is officially, man, it's basically wrapped up.
It's basically done. We'll give you a little coverage here and there, but it's majority just going to be all basketball from here on out. And then basketball's only got like a month and a half left. No, they got like 2 months left, actually.
Yeah, because we still got March Madness.
Yeah, you still got March.
That'll take us all the way to April.
Yeah.
We got time.
We got time.
We got 3 months left of this.
And then we got, we'll give you football. Then we'll get to spring ball a little bit. We'll give you a little coverage of that. Spring games will start to come. Spring practices have already started up for a lot of teams, but the football regular season and postseason is officially done. The 25-26 season is over. We are now on to the 26-27 season and until August.
That's crazy.
Yep.
But that'll do it for episode 18 of Kickoffs and Tipoffs. Thank you all so much for listening. Enjoy the rest of your day, folks.
Yep.
You've been listening to Kickoffs and Tipoffs right here on U92 The Moose, wherever you get podcasts.